Are we doing things that cause us pain because we want to try to fit in, or are we doing things because it feels right and good for us? What's up, sister? Oh, I definitely should have started this podcast being like, hey, Barbie. Because if you've seen the movie, you know that is how Barbie welcomes every other Barbie in Barbie Land. But that would have been too far for me. Today we are talking about Barbie though, because we got to talk about, I'm not really going to talk about necessarily the bad of Barbie. Obviously things could have been done a bit better as far as the movie goes. However, today I want to focus on what can we actually learn? My question to myself always is, right, like what is the lesson here? Like what can we learn from this? How can we apply this to our everyday lives? How can we use every situation in life, movie, sporting event, anything, how can we take this and actually apply it to our lives and make our lives better? So that is the point of today's podcast. So I'm pulling out 5 to 7 things that really stuck out to me as big learning lessons in the Barbie movie. So I won't share too many of the goods of what actually happens in Barbie world. I'll try not to. But if you're like, I don't want to hear anything about this because I'm going to go see the movie soon, then you might just want to pause this episode, go to a different episode, come back when you're ready to hear my thoughts, because I'd also love to hear your thoughts. So with that being said, I'm going to be, I've had some moms, because as a girl mentor, I've had some moms asking, is this really for young girls? Obviously, you're the mother. You decide if you think that you should take your daughter to see this or not. Obviously, there are some inappropriate jokes that might even go right over her head. She might not even pick up on it, where us adults laughed at that. But I would say that the point of this movie, I didn't take this movie as a way to, as a fun kid movie. It's not that. To me, this was a big, deeper message about society. And so there was a bigger picture being painted for women and men through this. So I don't even know, y'all will have to share with me, did your daughters actually enjoy this movie? If you took her to see it, because I would think I would probably be a little bored. If I was a young girl going to see this movie, I might be bored, because it's about the message, not really. I didn't think it was that entertaining of a movie. It was more the message for me that had me at the edge of my seat, wanting to know more, really thinking deeper into it. So if you're up for that, that's what I really see it as. I also, before I jump into this, my takeaways, things that I think we can learn from this, is I really want to share that I went into this as I was going into a college class, biology 101, where I'm like, dude, or not even biology. Let's see. What did I take? I took math for liberal arts. Okay. You don't even use numbers in math for liberal arts. So when I was in college, I went to this class and I was like, I'm going to learn absolutely nothing. This is going to be boring. This is going to be lame. I don't even want to go. That's how I felt about the Barbie movie, if I'm being honest. I didn't want to go at all. I had no intention of seeing this movie. Yes, I loved Barbie when I was a little girl. I have millions of Barbies still in boxes. So I was a Barbie girl, but in a Barbie, anyways, I enjoyed Barbie. Then I got older and I started studying marketing and body image and inequality and beauty standards and all the things. And I quickly started to have a not so much love for Barbie anymore. I share that to say, I went into this movie, going to see this movie with my best friend, only because I heard there was so much drama behind it that I had to know for myself, because your girl enjoys having deep conversations about things. So I was like, if it's this dramatic, let's go see this and let's form an opinion of our own. So these are my opinions of key things that I took away that we can apply, that I have decided to apply to my life, and perhaps maybe this can support you as well. And if you're like, this doesn't need to be that deep, it's a movie about Barbie, then, it's cool, whatever. But these are my thoughts. Here we go. Let me also say, I've only seen the movie once. If you are like my best friend, she's already gone and seen it 2 or 3 more times. So I don't have all of this memorized. I don't know exactly the quotes and all the things, but I'm going to do my best. So first, one of the big key takeaways is that we all, as women, get to start accepting compliments confidently. Let me repeat that. we get to start, if you're not yet, accepting compliments confidently. In the Barbie movie, it starts with, hey Barbie, right? They all welcome everybody because everyone's Barbie. But then they get to this point to where they start giving each other compliments. And again, I don't remember the exact compliments. It was, you're smart, you're pretty, you're this, you're that, right? All these compliments. And the Barbies started saying, thank you. I know. Thank you. Thank you. I know. I am this. I am that. And the theater, we laughed. We thought it was funny that Barbie accepted compliments so confidently, right? Like, yes, I know I'm this. Yes, I know I'm smart. Yes, I know I'm successful. Yes, I know I'm beautiful. Yes, I know. And she just kept saying, thank you. And us women in the crowd, in the theater, we were laughing. We thought it was funny. So my question was, why are we laughing? Why are we laughing? Could it be because we have never actually heard a woman fully confidently accept a compliment about herself? That it makes us feel weird? We think it's funny? Or could it be because we are so uncomfortable, maybe even intimidated, seeing and hearing another woman so boldly admit how awesome she is by accepting a compliment? Is that funny? I don't know. But we laughed. And so my big takeaway from that was that we get to do better as women, especially raising the next generation of girls. We get to do better at accepting compliments. If I tell you that you are so freaking smart, you're powerful, you're amazing, you're inspiring, you have so much great energy, you light up a room, you're beautiful. If I give you any of these compliments, you better say, yes, girl, thank you. And if you don't say that right now, I would encourage us all to be more like Barbie and accept compliments confidently. So that's number one. Number two was, we realized through the Barbie movie that we're more alike than unalike. We're more alike than we give ourselves credit for. Because this world that we live in likes to pin women against each other. Have you ever experienced that? We say mean girls. That's a whole different podcast episode. But we say mean girls. From the time we're little, we start telling girls that they don't get along. Girls are catty. They're not friends, right? That's why we have women that grow up and say, I'm not really friends with girls. I'd rather be friends with boys, which is fine. It's whatever. It's your preference. But what we realize through the Barbie movie is that we as women are more alike than we give each other credit for. There's a speech from the real woman. I say that because she's not a Barbie, so she's actually a real human. She's a real human, and she comes to Barbie World, to Barbie Land. Is that what it's called? Barbie Land? I don't even remember. But she comes to Barbie Land, and they're going through this stressful time. And she gives this speech, and I can, without a doubt, tell you that probably 94%, I'm making that up, but I'm going to guess, 94% of the theater cried during this speech. Because we all related to it so much. I haven't talked to a woman that went to see the Barbie movie yet who hasn't admitted that she cried during this speech. There's trending sounds going around now using this speech because of how just gut-wrenching it is. So I'm going to read that to you. I'm going to read it now in case you haven't seen the movie and you choose never to see the movie. I want you to hear this because I think it's so important to realize that we as women are so connected on so many levels, and we get to be more understanding and appreciative of other women and understand that we're not alone. We go through this life thinking it's just us. What's wrong with me? It's not just you. It's us. So here goes. It is literally impossible to be a woman. You are so beautiful and so smart, and it kills me that you don't think you're good enough. Like, we have to always be extraordinary, but somehow we're always doing it wrong. You have to be thin, but not too thin, and you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy, but also you have to be thin. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the damn time. You have to be a career woman, but also always be looking out for other people. You have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane. But if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men, but not so pretty that you tempt them too much or that you threaten other women because you're supposed to be part of a sisterhood. But always stand out and always be grateful. But never forget that the system is rigged. So find a way to acknowledge that, but also always be grateful. You have to never get old, never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. It's too hard. It's too contradictory, and nobody gives you a medal or says thank you. And it turns out, in fact, that not only are you doing everything wrong, but also everything is your fault. I'm just so tired of watching myself and every single other woman tie herself into knots so that people will like us. And if all that is true for a doll just representing women, then I don't even know. Did you connect to that speech? Did you connect to the words that she was saying? Did you have a feeling? Did you ever feel like, oh my gosh, yes, I do feel like I have to say I want to be healthy, but really I want to be thin, but I want money, but I'm not supposed to talk about money, and I'm not supposed to talk about this, and I'm not supposed to talk about that, right? It's all of these things that we all can in some way relate to and connect to that had the theater in tears. We went from laughing about Barbies accepting compliments to crying when we hear a speech about the stressful world of being a woman. So this was a lesson to me that we as women get to do a better job of understanding, of realizing that we're not alone, and that also other women are going through so many similar things that we are. And there's so much pressure put on us by the outside world that we get to start asking for help. We get to start being more supportive of other women. We get to take this and realize that we get to do something different. So we no longer cry when we hear a speech like this. I hope little girls grow up and they don't relate to this. I realized in this moment that a simple few sentences connected us all. And that's powerful. Because when we can realize that the pressure is so unbearable to be a woman, we might be more likely to link arms, cheer each other on, and do better. So, next thing that I learned was that women, kind of flowing into this, was that women are stronger together, especially when we want to make a change. We're told that we're weak and, we need men for this and that and yada, yada, yada. But we are so much stronger than we give ourselves credit for. And so in Barbie Land, I'm going to keep calling that. I don't even know. I should have Googled this first, but I think it's Barbie Land, Barbie World, whatever it is. You know what I'm talking about, the pink space where Barbies live. So they all work together because Barbie Land got taken over by Kens. And I'm not even going to really address Kens, okay? But it got taken over by Kens essentially. And so Barbies had to get it back. Duh. So, because Barbies were in charge first. We had Barbie president, we had Barbie, right? Barbies just ruled Barbie Land because it's Barbie Land. So they had to get it back. And they came together and created this system of how they were going to win back Barbie Land. And it didn't take just one of them. It wasn't just one Barbie that was like, here's what we're going to do. This is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this. You're going to be quiet, yada, yada, yada. Barbies came together and they started one thing. They shifted their plan and they had a whole fabulous orchestrated system of winning back Barbie Land. And it was beautiful to watch because every single one of them played an important role. They needed each of them. And we need each of us. And so we're so much stronger together when we bring our strengths and our skills of who we are as individuals. We don't need to be like the woman next to us. We don't need to be like Barbie. We don't need to be like, our best friend. We need to be more like us because when we're more like us, when we come together for a bigger change, a bigger cause, a bigger purpose, man, that's powerful. We are so much stronger together. All right, sorry, not sorry. I had to interrupt because have you ever heard of Love Her leggings? Love Her, like Loveher. Sister, I had one time experience where I was at a Girls on the Run, I was coaching Girls on the Run, and a teacher came out of the building and was like, hey, I just want to let you know that your leggings are see-through. What? One of the most embarrassing times ever. Anywho, the point is that when I found Love Her leggings, I became obsessed. I did all the tests, right? I did the squats, I pulled the pants, I was looking at my booty in the mirror. You know, I don't know if you do that, but like that's how I test to see if they are see-through or not, because I ain't wearing nothing that's see-through. So when I found Love Her leggings and they were not see-through, they were super comfortable, they did not roll down, they literally like pulled everything together, and I'm literally wearing them right now, so I just did it, like pull them up. They are just the most amazing fitting leggings ever. They're the best. And many of them come with pockets that are deep. I go for a walk and it hold my keys and my phone and everything. Like they're just amazing. Anyways, they're not even paying me to say this. I just really thought that you should know, because if you're like me and you need a good pair of leggings, homegirl, go get you some Love Her leggings. Theyarethebomb.com. You can thank me later. Another point that I really took away from the Barbie movie was that, and I already knew this, okay? I'm just gonna pat myself on the back, which you probably know this as well. But inequality benefits no one. Unequal power dynamics are good for absolutely nobody. We see through the movie, again, pause here if you don't want to hear any more about the details, but we see through the movie how Barbie and Ken lived their life in Barbie land, right? Barbies were in control, Kens were just there. They're just Ken. They're just Ken. That's all they're good for. They're just good for being Ken. And so it was this unequal power dynamic because Barbies are in charge and Kens just have to go along with whatever Barbies say. And then they go out to the human world, and Barbie quickly realizes that she is no longer in control. And women are no longer in power, but rather that men are in power in all aspects of life for the most part. And Ken is like, yes, living his best life in human world, because he's like, man, I get to make decisions. I get to do this. I get to say that and do this and yada, yada, yada. He sees people, which is why representation is so important. He sees people that look like him in important roles. He sees billboards of men in suits and gets excited. He realizes that he has power just for being a man in human world. And Barbie quickly finds herself sad and feeling like she is less than. It's a completely different world than they were used to living in. So in Barbie land, we have Barbies that are living their best lives and Kens that are like, who am I? I'm just Ken. Like, I don't even serve a purpose, essentially. And then we switch to human world where it's the opposite. Ken is living his best life, feels like he is important and valued. And now Barbie feels like she is not. She feels like she's just a woman that's meant to look a certain way. And so we see this inequality in both spaces. And so if we really dig into it, we can see the unequal power dynamics of being a man or a woman, just based on our society, how our society is. And we see that as the society is, whoever is in power is normally the one that is succeeding and happier and more energized and doing the things. And the person who is not in power is depressed and upset and questioning themselves and has no confidence. And so if we really think about it, Barbie Land is really cool because it's pink and fun, but Barbie Land doesn't benefit Ken at all. And human world doesn't benefit Barbie at all. And so if there's anything that we take away from this, it's that the whole point, in my opinion, of the Barbie movie is to point out this power dynamic. Again, this is like way deeper than probably most people take the Barbie movie, but this is where my sociology brain comes in, is that it's really just showing the world the inequality that we have in our world and how it doesn't benefit anyone and how it's almost silly that we have this based on just the fact of someone is male or female. So we see this was a big takeaway for me with this movie is that I hope that people take away from it is that inequality doesn't benefit anyone. And if there's something that we can do about it, we absolutely should. It also, the Barbie movie also showed to me, and I hope what people walk away with it is that it tests our empathy. Because of that inequality, it tests our empathy to understanding what others experience, especially when they're not in power, when they don't have privilege. Because if you can go and watch the Barbie movie and you can see how it pains Ken to live in Barbie world because he isn't treated equally, and you can show empathy for Barbie when she goes to human world because she is not privileged in that world. If we can find empathy for that and understanding of what other people experience in our real worlds right now, if we walk out into the world right now and we can be, I hope that the Barbie movie shows us how to be a little bit more empathetic and question the inequality and try to understand more of what other people are experiencing. Because it was important at the end of the movie, we see this dynamic of Ken, expressing his feelings, which is very powerful. Ken expressing his feelings to Barbie because of feeling like he's just Ken. And so if we can relate to that and we can try to understand how people feel when they're not in positions of power and they don't have privilege, then we can live in a much better world. I'm going to switch the gears because that stuff is a little bit heavier. That's my sociology brain. The other part that I thought that was, I laughed at, but it made me think later. I've been thinking about the part where Barbie, she starts turning into a human. And so one of the first things, right, like Barbie is always on her toes. Like the actual Barbie dolls that we have, they're on their toes. They have heels and different things. And so when she starts turning into a human, her feet go flat, which I'm flat-footed, so totally relate, sister. But her feet go flat like a normal human's. And so she's walking, and obviously she's starting to struggle because now she's wearing heels. And so she said something, again, I don't have it memorized. I only saw the movie once. But she said something along the lines of, if I had feet like these, I would never wear these, meaning heels. She's like, what? I would never, if my feet were like this, I would never wear these. Because she couldn't walk. Because her feet are human feet that are designed to be flat, not up on your toes. So I just thought that was really, it made me laugh, it made me giggle, but then I started, later thinking about, that was hilarious. And also, are we questioning and thinking about, are we dressing for ourselves or are we dressing for others? Now, I have plenty of friends that love them some heels. It makes them feel confident. They feel like they just rock them and they're beautiful. And I have some heels of my own. I'm not against heels. But what I would love for us to do is start questioning more of why we do what we do. Are we doing things that cause us pain because we want to try to fit in? Or are we doing things because it feels right and good for us? And so it just, again, it was just heels. It was just a funny thing of her feet didn't fit right in heels. But I bet if we talked to a lot of doctors, they would probably tell us not to wear heels because they probably are very bad for our legs, our knees, all the things, because our feet aren't probably supposed to be up like that. So it was just a funny thing, again, just making me think like, oh yeah, that's why I choose not to wear heels sometimes, because they aren't comfortable and they don't make me feel good. And so what else are we doing or wearing or choosing that might not be for us? And then the last thing that I'll just say on this movie that was a takeaway for me was that money rules everything. And you're probably thinking like, yeah, duh, Danielle. But there was a key point at the end of the movie where I believe it was the actual human woman, says, encourages, it might not have been her. Anyways, someone suggested to the maker of Barbie, what is it, Mattel? The CEO, they suggested to the CEO that, hey, we should make a normal Barbie. Like just a normal, everyday Barbie. And quickly he was like, no. And then someone behind him was like, oh, that would make us, at the same time he was saying no, they were like, that would make us a ton of money. And then he was like, oh yes, that's a great idea, right? And So it was just like this funny little thing where we realize that the decisions that are often made at the top, and really anywhere in life, but especially at the top, we have to always remind ourselves that money rules everything. The decisions that are being made, as far as, I talk a lot about beauty standards and body image. We have to always question when we're watching commercials or we see ads on social media. We always have to be questioning, like, is this right for me, or am I being sold something that I don't actually need? And when I say that, it's more along the lines of, for me, what I always am working with my clients is, weight loss and fitness and diets and beauty creams and potions and lotions and pills and shakes and all of these things that we're constantly trying to be sold. And we have to, come into it just understanding and realizing that everything is a result of a company making money. And obviously there are lots of businesses and people that are in it for the right reasons. They want to help people, but we live in a capitalistic society where we do need to make money. We got to pay our bills. But at the same time, it's also important, again, to just question these things. I think as women, one of the most important things that we can do is just question, and make sure that we're making choices that are right for us. And so again, it was just this simple little thing of, he thought it was a dumb idea to have a normal Barbie until he heard that it was going to make money. And then he's like, oh yes, great idea. So just always keeping that on our brains as we see things, as we see advertisements, as we hear people talking about things. We have to remember that everything is driven by money and companies making money. So with that being said, I think those are the basics of, again, I went into the movie not expecting to like it, not really even wanting to see it. And then I walked away, and my friend and I, we drove for a little bit, and we just started bouncing off these things of, oh my gosh, wasn't that funny? And how did that happen? And isn't that interesting? And the more that I did that, I was like, wow, this was actually a movie full of important messages, all coming from a Barbie. And obviously, like I just said, money rules everything. So they did great advertising. They did great marketing. I think even on Google, it showed up like pink and sparkly the day the movie came out. So this movie was driven by money. They wanted to make money, obviously. But I will say that I walked away from that hoping that some of this would stick. That if men went to see this, maybe they would just relate a little bit more to women and be more open-minded to understanding some of the experiences that we do have in human world where we aren't in power in most places, and the importance of that. I hope that women start linking arms with more women and relating to that speech to be like, oh my gosh, like I'm not alone, right? And I hope we start taking compliments more confidently. I just think there's so many little pieces of this movie that are big messages that we can apply for ourselves on a daily basis, but that we can also hopefully pass down to little girls to encourage them to take compliments, to see other girls as friends and allies, to understand and be empathetic to humans that are in different situations and experience different things than we do, because we don't know what it's like to walk in their shoes. And so I hope that if you saw the movie, that you took away some of these things, or maybe you took away different messages. I'd love to hear that from you as well. But I hope that some of these, even if you're like, Danielle, I don't want to see the movie, I think that's dumb, maybe some of the little things that I share with you today help you transform a little bit of how you go about your everyday life, with or without relating it to Barbie. Because it really has nothing to do with Barbie, and it has everything to do with us as women and what we can do in our lives every single day to live more powerfully. So that's the message of the day. So I will leave you with that. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, I'd love to, if you'd like to drop a 5-star review, that would be fabulous. If you heard this, if as you're listening, you had some aha moments or some, oh, dang, that's right, like that's a really good point, and you're like, man, more women could benefit from hearing this take on a simple Barbie movie, I would love for you to click share and share on all your social medias and tag me and tell me your thoughts. And Let's just keep rallying around each other, linking arms, and reminding ourselves every single freaking day that we, you, me, we are pretty powerful. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. I can't wait to hear your thoughts, and I will see you, chat with you on the next one. Bye, friend.